My mother's family sold our home and cut us off, never realizing that the girl they ridiculed would one day reclaim it. When they forced us out, I was just 16, standing barefoot on the cold porch, watching my uncle slam the door on the only home I'd ever known. Mom cried herself to sleep for nights, and I made her one promise. I would put that house back in her name. If you've ever been underestimated or betrayed by your own family, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this story. It hits hard. I can still hear Aunt Patricia's cruel words echoing in my head. Kylie, your mom ruined everything. You'll never own a home again. Her voice burned into me like fire. We moved into a tiny apartment above a mechanic's shop. Every night, I listened to engines roar below while Mom stitched clothes quietly just to cover the rent. I took every odd job I could find, waitressing, cashiering, delivering. Meanwhile, my cousins flaunted their lavish parties online, right in the living room they'd taken from us, while I served strangers just to scrape by. But I wasn't angry. I was learning. One evening at the diner, I overheard two businessmen discussing real estate and flipping foreclosed houses. Something clicked inside me. That night, instead of sleeping, I dove into free online tutorials, studied property laws, and calculated home values. I kept it all secret. Everyone, even Mom, thought I was just another tired waitress with no future. But behind that uniform, I was quietly building my future. 5 years later, when my first property deal closed, I cried in the empty house I'd bought, not because I was rich, but because for the first time I was in control of my life. Then one day I saw it. A for sale sign in front of our old home, the very house they had sold to discard us. I froze on the sidewalk, staring at the place where everything had begun. My heart raced, my hands shook. I stepped closer, whispering, "It's time." And there she was, Aunt Patricia, holding the sale documents. Our eyes met. For a moment, she didn't recognize me. Maybe she didn't see that the girl they'd mocked was gone, replaced by someone confident, determined, unstoppable. I wore a sharp black coat, heels clicking against the driveway where I once ran barefoot. Her fake smile faltered. "Kylie, is that you?" she asked, scanning me as if she couldn't believe I belonged there. "Yeah," I replied calmly. "I heard the house was for sale." "Oh, sweetie, this is far out of your reach. We're talking serious money here." She laughed nervously. I wanted to laugh too, but I stayed silent. Let her underestimate me one last time. The realtor approached. "You must be Miss Rivera," he said, shaking my hand. Aunt Patricia's eyes widened. "Wait, you're the buyer," she stammered, her voice trembling. I smiled slowly. "All cash, full payment." Her jaw dropped. "How is this possible? You were just working at a diner." "Yeah," I said softly. "And while you were busy laughing at me on this porch, I was buying houses your friends couldn't even dream of affording." The realtor handed over the documents. Aunt Patricia's hand shook as reality sank in. Behind her, my cousins peeked through the windows, their faces twisted with shock. They were speechless, just as I had imagined. Then Mom arrived, driving up in her old car, unaware of what was unfolding. When she saw me holding the keys, confusion turned into awe. "Mom," I said, holding them out to her. My voice shook as I said, "Remember when I promised we'd have this home again?" Mom's lips trembled. "Kylie, what did you do?" I pressed the keys into her hand. "It's ours again, Mom. We own it." For a heartbeat, the world went silent. Then Aunt Patricia's sharp voice cut through the quiet. "This isn't fair. You tricked us." I turned to her slowly, keeping my voice calm but icy. "No, Patricia. You sold your soul for money. I just bought it back with pride." But I wasn't finished. There was one more revelation I had saved. The one that would make her see this wasn't just about the house. It was about every little thing she'd stolen from us. Her face went pale. "What do you mean, everything you took from us?" she stammered. I stepped closer, my heels clicking on the marble porch, the same one she had once said I'd never set foot on again. "Do you really think I spent all these years just to reclaim a building?" I said softly. "No, Patricia. I bought half the neighborhood." Her jaw dropped. "You're lying. Check the deeds yourself," I said, producing a thick folder from my bag. "Rivera Holdings LLC. That's me." She snatched the papers, shaking, flipping through them frantically. Her eyes darted across the documents, disbelief giving way to horror. You own the plaza, the rental homes?" Even the grocery store? Every single one, I replied evenly. The very places that ignored Mom's job applications. Funny how the tables turn. Mom stood frozen, fingers tightening around the house keys. Kylie, you did all this alone? I swallowed the lump in my throat and smiled. I did it for you, Mom. So you'd never cry over rent again. Just then my cousin Jenna stormed into the yard, designer heels sinking into the muddy grass. You think money makes you better than us? She spat. No, Jenna, I said, turning to face her. But integrity does. Something your family sold the day they betrayed their own blood. Her face twisted in anger. Before she could respond, a sleek black car rolled up. Out stepped Mr. Dalton, one of the city's top investors. He strode past the stunned family, stopping in front of me. Ms. Rivera, he said, shaking my hand firmly. We received your message. The community center deal is ready to finalize. The mayor's office has already approved permits. Aunt Patricia froze. Community center? What are you talking about? I glanced around the yard, the same place where I had once cried as a child, and smiled. This house won't just be ours, Patricia. It will shelter families like ours, the ones you look down on. For the first time she had no words. Just a hollow silence that spoke volumes. But then I noticed something. A barely hidden smirk. Something felt off. You may have bought the house, Kylie, she whispered. But you don't know what's buried inside it. My heart skipped. What do you mean? Her smile widened, cold and knowing. You think you know everything. But this house still holds a secret your mother never told you. My pulse raced. I looked at Mom. What is she saying? Mom's face went pale. Kylie, don't listen to her. She's trying to ruin this moment. But her trembling voice betrayed her fear. Aunt Patricia chuckled darkly. Oh, she knows exactly what I mean. Go on, Linda. Tell her who truly owned this house before your father signed those papers. Stop it, Patricia. Mom snapped, voice cracking. This is no longer your concern. I stepped closer gently. Mom, you promised me honesty. Please tell me. Tears filled her eyes. Your grandfather, he didn't buy this house, Kylie. He stole it. What? My stomach sank. Mom looked down. It originally belonged to Patricia's side of the family. When he passed, he left falsified documents that cut them out completely. They never forgave me for being his daughter. That's why they took revenge on us. I stared at Aunt Patricia in disbelief. So you sold the house because you believed it was rightfully yours? She smirked. Exactly. We only reclaimed what was stolen from us. For a moment I didn't know what to feel: betrayal, anger, shame. All these years I had believed we were the victims, but perhaps both families had blood on their hands. Mr. Dalton cleared his throat, uneasy. Ms. Rivera, if there are legal complications with the house, we may need to. I cut him off. No. Nothing changes. Turning to my mother and aunt, I said firmly, you both fought over this house for decades. Tonight I end it. I bought it not to own, but to heal, to fix what both of you broke. Mom's eyes widened, stunned. Kylie, what are you doing? I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of every step I had taken to reach this moment. I'm giving this home back to its people. And giving us back our family. I turned to Aunt Patricia, my voice steady but firm. If this house was ever yours, then you'll still be part of what I'm building here. The community center will carry both our family names, the Rivera Moore Foundation. For the first time, her haughty composure faltered. Why would you do that after everything I did to you? She asked, her voice a mix of disbelief and suspicion. Revenge shaped me, I said quietly. But forgiveness will set me free. Mom's tears fell softly as she wrapped me in a trembling embrace. Around us, the rest of the family stood frozen in stunned silence. For a fleeting moment, I thought peace had finally settled. Then Aunt Patricia leaned closer, her whisper slicing through the quiet. You still don't understand, Kylie. That secret, it wasn't the only one buried here. I frowned. What do you mean? She gestured toward the basement door. Long locked since my earliest memories. Ask your mother, who lived down there before you were born. The air thickened, pressing against my chest as if the house itself were holding its breath. I stepped closer to the door. The paint was chipped, the handle rusted, and years of dust clung to the edges. My hand shook as I reached for the key Mom had always worn on her necklace. Mom, who lived down there? My voice was barely a whisper. Her eyes filled with tears. Kylie, please don't. But I had already unlocked it. The hinges groaned as I opened the door, letting out a wave of cold, musty air. I flipped the switch. The bulb flickered weakly, revealing furniture draped in sheets and old photographs pinned to the walls. If you've ever uncovered a truth that shatters everything you believed, you know that sudden sinking feeling. I stepped down, heart hammering. The photos were faded, yellowed with time. Teenaged faces smiled back at me, my mother holding a baby, but the handwriting on the backs froze me in place. For my daughter, Patricia. From your father. My breath caught in my throat. Mom, this isn't you. Mom froze on the stairs. Kylie, please. I can explain. Aunt Patricia's voice rang out, cold and controlled. Go ahead, Linda. Tell her who she really is. The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. What are you saying? Mom sank to her knees. You weren't supposed to find out like this. Kylie, you're not my biological daughter. You're Patricia's. The room spun. I couldn't speak. She clutched me tightly, her voice breaking. Your grandfather. He gave you to me when Patricia was only 16. He wanted to protect the family name, so he faked the records. But I raised you as my own. Every sacrifice, every moment of love, it was all for you. Aunt Patricia's eyes glistened with unshed tears. He took my child from me. That's why I resented you. Every time I saw you, I saw her, my daughter. Silence filled the house, thick and suffocating. All the bitterness, the rage, the pain I had carried for years, it was tied to me. I looked between the two women, my vision blurred with tears. The truth I had hunted, the revenge I had nurtured. It all centered on me. Mom's voice trembled. You were the bridge that could have healed us all. For a long, heavy moment, none of us moved. The air hung heavy with things that could never be undone. Then slowly Aunt Patricia reached out. Her hand trembled as it rested over mine. Maybe it's time, she whispered, to stop tearing down what he left behind. I nodded, tears spilling down my cheeks. No more secrets. No more hate. As we walked back upstairs, sunlight streamed through the windows, bathing the house in gold. It no longer felt like the place that had torn us apart. Felt like home. I looked at both of them and said, this house once broke us, but from now on it will stand for unity. For everything we lost, and finally found. I placed their hands together, and a warmth spread through my chest, quiet and steady. The same walls that had witnessed so much pain now held the promise of healing. Because sometimes reclaiming your past isn't about possession. It's about forgiveness.